Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some pro-revenge stories and our first story of the day is by CindirellaCookie. I recorded a coworker loving himself at work for eating my chocolate. Before you get to that part, I need to clarify that yes, I have a video, but I would never post it or anything because I would get in trouble for it and because it's a ridiculous story. It's up to you to believe it or not. Let's name everyone involved in this. John, my boyfriend, the designer. Jenny, me. I did mostly video. Sarah, another coworker. She was the best photographer there. Mario, to say that he was useless is an understatement. The reason why I'm writing this. Donna, the director's assistant, and Amy, the accountant. Years ago, I worked in a government institution where I live. It wasn't a good job. It was basically volunteer paid work that was an excuse to not give employees any security a real job would offer, but I accepted because I needed the money and I had just finished college. I used to work in the communication department with 4 other coworkers. One of them was my boyfriend, still together to this day, and the youngest one, Mario, was a guy who was still in high school and got his girlfriend pregnant. His mom worked in other government institutions and she got him that job. That's one of the reasons the boss couldn't fire him. We had to make designs, take pictures, do video, post on social media, check on the press when they wanted an interview with one of our bosses, and many other things. Mario was supposed to know some about photography and design because he told us that's what he was studying at school, but we knew later that he didn't attend school often, so he was very bad at almost everything, and we tried to show him how to do his work, but he was really stubborn and lazy. He never learned completely how to do the basic work. He always had problems with many people, not with us at the beginning because he acted polite. That changed later. He was disrespectful when taking pictures, he was late almost every day, and he used to post on social media about government and fight other people who didn't agree with him. Sarah and John would talk to him about how working in a government institution, you couldn't do that. It's simply not okay. However, he never changed and told his mom we were against him. Mario went to work around 2 to 4 hours a day. Usually John and Sarah would be the only ones to see him because they worked more hours than the rest of us, but he would stay in the office around 1 or 2 hours alone, or they would send him to take pictures for the same time. One day he had to take pictures of some event practice. Everyone else was off the clock. It wasn't a big event and he had been working there around a year by that time, so we thought he could go by himself. The accountant had to go there and decided to take him with her and one coworker of hers in her car. He was late again and that's why he couldn't go in one of the work cars. The accountant left her purse open in the space that's in the middle of the driver and the co-driver's seats. When they went back to the office, she noticed her wallet disappeared. She instantly knew that it had to be Mario who was the one that took it. They began to search him and our office and found nothing. Somebody found the wallet under the vending machine. At first, we took a side because they admitted that they never found anything and because it wasn't right to search in our office without anybody else there, mostly because we had photography equipment that wasn't exactly cheap. However, when we knew how the wallet was found and when we talked to him, we knew it was him. More money and stuff disappeared when he was there, but nobody could prove he took them. The bosses didn't want to create a scandal, so they let it happen. Our office used to be the conference room, so it was attached to the kitchen, and the director had beverages there for visits. We could use the kitchen but not touch those beverages, but Mario couldn't even get in there. Anyway, the sodas began to disappear and the director's assistant complained to us. We said we didn't take them and she wouldn't believe us. One day, John noticed that our door to the kitchen was broken and that you could take the lock easily. With a pencil, we used to find pencils without tips, he took it inside the mechanism and then the door opened. It took its time, but he proved that Mario was getting in the kitchen when nobody else was there. However, that didn't make a difference and nothing was done, not even talking to him. One day, John and me were on our way to work, but I didn't have breakfast, so we stopped at a store. I bought something to eat and a chocolate. I put it inside the fridge and forgot about it. The next day, I remembered about it and went to check. It wasn't there and I got mad. John and I checked the trash can, it was clean and empty and we just watched, and we found just little pieces of that chocolate. So we asked for a video camera that someone offered us before. It could record for long hours. I want to clarify at this point that we didn't take the decision of everything you are about to read just because of a chocolate. The chocolate was the last straw. For like a year, we had to put up with our bosses scolding us because of him. He never wanted to learn how to do his job, and things were always disappearing, including personal things. The first day, Donna left money in one of her drawers and left it slightly open so he could see the money. We put the camera in the other building that was in front of ours. We had big windows, floor to ceiling, and you could watch Donna's desk in the hallway. Also some lady's office, our door, and the director's office. The other building just had empty offices then, but had big curtains. That's why Mario couldn't see the camera. We went home that day and left the camera recording. The next day, there was the money. Maybe because we left one billet equivalent to $5 and he knew we would know he took it. I checked the camera and watched him getting in the lady's office. I don't know what she did there, and he took some cookies from her office, but he looked suspicious. Again, with this we couldn't do much, so that night, John found an old cell phone that could record for 2 hours. The next day, Donna left the $5 again, but now she left $1 bills in the same drawer slightly open. We placed the camera in the other building, and John disguised his old cell phone with a binder and some sticky tape. That day, he got a loan for a little less than 2 hours and left. John and me had a car, so we were in the mall close there, just killing time, and then we went back for the cell phone. Oh my god. John watched a little bit of the video before the battery died. He said he saw something weird but wasn't sure because the screen was very damaged and we were in the car. I was driving. When we got in John's house, we could watch everything he had done inside our office. Not the other camera because the building was closed and we didn't have access to it until the next day. First, we saw him getting in the office, watching some YouTube, everything normal. Then he went out, and when he came back, we saw him putting something in his pocket, but it wasn't clear what. Then we saw how easily he took a pencil, opened the kitchen's door, and took something like a yogurt, then he closed the door. Then we could hear that he was watching something like a channel that's very famous in our country. But then we heard noises. Yeah. That kind of noises. We were supposed to have blocked those kinds of videos and websites. I mean, those were government offices and the IT team had checked recently everything. But somehow he was watching adult content on the computer I used to work. And if you are thinking if he did what you are thinking, the answer is yes. Thank God the cell phone didn't record his hands, but you could see his shoulder moving and him licking his fingers. I know. Very disgusting. Well, he ended and didn't even wash his hands. I was so shocked and disgusted when I saw that, I wanted to cry. The next day, the first thing I did was to call the IT department to clean the computer. We didn't say why because of obvious reasons. John took the camera and we could watch him when he went out of the office and checked carefully if somebody was around. Then he went to Donna's desk and took $1. He went inside the woman's office and took something, but we couldn't see what. Then he went into our office. We called Donna to our office and she was shocked. Then Sarah watched the video as soon as she got there. Then the director arrived and we asked him and Amy to go to our office. We showed them the video. The director was very young and trusted us a lot, so he didn't hold his laughter when the self-love part began. Amy was a young and delicate woman, so she just turned around and covered her eyes while letting a small scream out. We finally got the proof needed to fire him. When we got to work, they didn't let him in. I don't know how the conversations went, but I know some of the words exchanged. Amy said, "You stole again and we told you, and last time we told you it was your last chance." Mario raising his voice, "I didn't do anything, you're always blaming me." Amy says, "We have proof." "You don't have anything, all of you hate me." "Don't make me show you." "Well, show me." Amy called our office. "John, could you bring the videos?" John says, "The first one, the video camera one, or the second, the cell phone one?" Amy says, "The second one." When he heard that, he was defeated and very nervous. John took his time downloading the video into his computer because it was in mine and went to the office Amy was talking to Mario in. John told me he was about to show him the video and then he asked Mario, "Mario, do you really want to watch this video?" Mario couldn't even watch John in the eyes. "No, I don't want to." Amy says, "Play at least the first video for him." John says, "I don't have that one, let me go for it." I admit that I just wanted to see Mario's face, so I went to that office to give them a USB, but he didn't really watch me. Amy, to John and me, says, "Okay, thank you, that's gonna be all." And we left the office. We know she said something like, after playing the video, "You always said it was us and even told your mom that we wanted to get you in trouble all the time. You even told really bad things about this place. You are fired and we don't ever want to hear about you complaining to anybody else in the Central, or we're going to show these 2 videos to your mom." And he just left. Then we heard that he actually told lies to his mom like, "They hated me and told lies to make them fire me." But no one ever told his mom. Not that I know. Well, this story made me realize that someone could be recording me anywhere I go. I mean, even I did it to someone. Let me ask you guys, despite the outcome being true and catching them actually doing these disgusting things, do you think the actions of what OP and the coworkers did here are okay? In the sense that they set up these props and cameras to try and catch them in the action without it ever being explained to any of the higher ups or any kind of actual process besides just a ragtag collective team thing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Our next story is by Avenged. So you're not in a hurry? Okay, then I guess you don't need to overtake, right? A bit of context. Right-hand drive country, rightmost lane on the freeway is the fast/overtaking lane, and you're to give way to faster vehicles regardless of how fast they're going, even if you're at the speed limit. Basically, you have no right to police anyone's speed as a civilian. Unfortunately, half the drivers here will happily hog the right lane even with the road ahead clear and justify it as being within the speed limit, totally ignoring the rule about giving way. It's almost a daily occurrence and frankly it's frustrating because these guys just like to be on the fast lane without actually being fast, so they choke up everyone else behind. It's not uncommon to see a whole line of drivers picking up when that one hogger ahead finally changes lane, not because he realized how selfish he was, but simply because it was time for him to exit. So anyway, there I was driving home today when I see this driver doing exactly that. In fact, he was easily 10 below the limit, not 1 ahead for a long way. Some traffic on the left 2 lanes, so it wasn't exactly an empty freeway either. I wait for an opening on the left, drop 2 gears and overtake him. Then I ease off the throttle and cruise even slower than he was doing. Roadhogger gets annoyed after a while and switches to the middle to overtake, but I'm prepared for that, having scouted the road in front. A little ahead of me are slow vehicles in the middle and left lane, a small truck in the middle lane and 2 bikes on the left going parallel to each other, all 3 doing 20 or 30 below the limit, side by side. Perfect. I drop 2 gears and make sure to keep pace with the roadhogger, modulating my throttle input until I'm about rolling up alongside the small truck, and then I let off the gas and pace the 2 slow vehicles in a very lazy 5th gear. Roadhogger has absolutely nowhere to go on the 3-lane carriageway, and we continue chilling way below the limit until it's time for me to get off the freeway. Drop to 4th, overtake, undertake actually, and I'm on my way home. Petty as freak? Maybe. Do it again? Absolutely. Yeah, this kind of driving is very prevalent, at least where I'm from, so I don't really blame OP for finally having enough of experiencing this and kind of giving a little bit of payback to these kinds of people that just make your whole driving experience miserable because it's so inefficient. And our final story of the day is by Pildownton Abbey. My truck smokes and makes a clicking noise and it's driving me insane. I once worked at an auto parts delivery store and a new guy was hired who was sort of a jerk. He was always playing really mean pranks. Once he fixed a broomstick to the stairs to the basement so I'd trip, and I did. He put dirty grease on my seat of my delivery truck and that made my pants nasty for the rest of the day. Everyone complained about him, but I was the only one close to his age, so I guess he just felt more comfortable doing the mean pranks to me. One of my older coworkers gave me a couple of things to do to get him back. First, I started putting automatic transmission fluid in the carburetor of his delivery truck. Yeah, this is back when those were still common. The effect this has is massive amounts of billowing white smoke pouring out of the exhaust pipe until it all burns up. The other employees and manager also learned I was doing this, and they enjoyed the revenge. After a week of this and his daily complaints of a truck that's falling apart, I was given my next prank. Large, heavy-duty cable ties around the drive shaft. Put them in a spot where they'll contact the undercarriage. So for the next week or so after this, that guy keeps complaining about the smoke and the clicking noise caused by the cable ties. I stopped putting the automatic transmission fluid in his carburetor, and after a couple of weeks, the cable ties wore down or broke off, but he was fired shortly after. He was getting complaints from customers because he was terrible at his job as well as being a jerk when he was at the store. I think this really just goes to show you that if you're a jerk or a mean-spirited person, people will constantly do things to get back at you and you probably won't even be able to realize it. Also that most of the time you don't get too far if you're being a jerk. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So which of these stories was your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing and turn notifications on if you haven't so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Any little thing that you do helps the channel grow so much more. Whether it's commenting, subscribing, or just watching the video, thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time, right here on the Storytime channel.